So I'm here today with Tryko from the Tunnel Toads. We're going to have a little chat. I used to have a question, have you ever had a near miss? And I think you've
Mhm.
got the ultimate near miss. So I think I'll add that.
Yeah, I think I might.
I
Yeah.
think we'll add that question back in. Do you have you ever had a near miss? And you can explain your near miss.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were out on a night out. It was, a sort of Cave Clan slash Tunnel Toads Expo last year. We were having an absolutely great night. May have had a few too many drinks and the night, carried on as it does. And a few of us decided we'd go to gas chamber bridge room. And as we were walking, I don't really remember how it all happened, but I think somebody sort of cracked a joke and I laughed sort of with my whole body and just fell, boom down. From what I've been told, roughly about 10 to 12 meters. Yeah, luckily I won't mention his name because I know it's a bit private, but one of the Cave Clan legend, Spider-Man down the bridge and called Triple O. And luckily a paramedic was, about 7 minutes away, so they came and got me. But he worked on me for 24 minutes. I had a brain bleed. I was pre-cardiac, broke pretty much all of my ribs, 8 bones in my back, my cheeks, my nose, and I ended up in ICU and intubated. So yeah, pretty full on really. A year later, I'm still recovering. I'm doing a lot better, especially mobility wise. Other than that, it's been, sort of the usual sleeping on moss and getting cuts on your knees, nothing big. Yeah, that was pretty life changing really. And so very glad to have made it through. And I'm even more so glad for all the, support I received from the community. Everyone just rallied behind me. And, I remember everybody went back to Spooky's place after it happened, and and her and Nippy were calling the hospital for constant checkups and stuff, and there was just so much support. Yeah, I spent 9 days in the hospital, and then basically spent months recovering after that, and somewhat still am. So I have to kind of pick and choose which meetups I go to based on like if it's going to be too stoopy. So say we did Nilex recently, which I'd wanted to do for a good 20 years. For about an hour in, I was done. That was definitely by far the biggest accident I've had, and it sort of taught me to be a bit more careful in the future. Some of these sites, you can go to and have a few drinks and have a good time. Yeah, there's really some that you shouldn't be going to when you've had that many drinks. And yeah, lesson well learned.
Well, firstly, I knew it happened, and I think someone contacted me on the night. I just hearing it was like, yeah, fuck. I'm glad you're still with us. I think the good thing about you talking about this with Cave Clan and probably Tunnel Toads as they go on, it's when it rains, no drains, don't do this. Watch out
Yeah.
when you're lifting a manhole off. And I think we do need to talk about this kind. Your accident, it's probably
Mhm.
something that everyone just took for granted. And I think that's the same
Yeah.
with going in drains. People go, oh, it's only raining a bit. Yeah, I think with dangerous things, we don't go, all right, when we enter here, there's a 12-meter drop onto a
Yeah.
freeway. Like I think we need to do a bit more of that. And something I'm so
Definitely.
glad that, and I hope you fully recover, but
Yeah.
and to make the most out of such a bad thing is, yeah,
Mhm.
it's good that you're talking about it. And, I may make this into a short version as well, just to get it out there more, but it's a good message that, you were laughing, having a joke, and you've
Mhm.
just gone from one extreme to the other.
Like I was having one of the best nights of my life, I reckon, until that happened. So, it's just
Yeah,
it's funny how quickly things can change, So,
yeah,
it's good to not be complacent because it really can be a dangerous hobby, and a lot of
yeah,
the time we sort of brush that aside or just don't think about it. So,
yeah, yeah.